Alright, it's chess time. Let's go. Queen's pawn opening. Bringing up the pawn only by one, huh? Grab some space in the center. Now, I've run into this problem before, where if you move up this pawn by one trying to threaten the queen, they take this right here, it puts you in check, you have to move out of the way or put something in front, and then they have a straight shot to your rook because you just moved your pawn up one. So, the general idea is that you want to protect this because that's where they're going. If there's nothing protecting that right now. You could put this pawn up, well, actually you can't because then you know, lose the game. So I think a good idea would be to throw out the knight, not able to take that. Alright, so he's moving to try and get rid of this. Gonna put a... Alright, so the idea is that by taking out this piece, if I put something like a queen right here to try and recapture there, I would have the queen there, then they can take that perfectly fine because there's nothing stopping it. The idea is that it's getting rid of this, so instead of trying to stop this pawn from recapturing, you want to put more pressure on this pawn right here. Alright, by moving this pawn right here, that's usually to stop the knight from moving out here. But as you can see, it's forked to my, or pinned rather to my king. So I have absolutely no idea what that was about. Well, now that we have some pressure on this piece, we can actually move this up by one, seeing as they can't do the normal checking move because I have the bishop right there. And just like that, they have been forced to move away. Alright. I'd like to move somewhere right here because this pawn is unprotected. Normally there would be a bishop right there, but is currently unable to retreat. Their plan might be to bring their queen over here, but that would lock it very snugly in place right there. If he does end up moving this over here, I'd probably... Alright. Plan is now to somehow get onto this file right here, which I think I'm going to do by just moving this right over here, which now attacks this pawn. In best case scenario, I can get right up here and then hopefully to the rook. His plan might be, after I move right here, to put his knight right here or to pressure with the queen, but in that case I would probably just take this and then call it a day. Alright, that doesn't really accomplish all that much. Possibly bait to try and take that and then recapture. Alright. Guess I'm just gonna have to take this one pawn and leave it at that. Now he plans to remove this escape route down here, but it wasn't much of an escape route anyways in the first place, considering everything. And I think I'm just going to put the pawn up here to kick this piece away. Once again. Alright, let's try that again. Queen's pawn opening, same as always. Allowing us to get more space. Very weird start. Let's see. Think I'm going to go for a bit of one of those moves, you know. If I'm able to, that is. I swear if he moves one of these pawns next. Okay. Probably gonna move the bishop out here to threaten this entire file. He's not able to move down here, being protected. I think that's just about my best idea right now. Alright. Putting pressure on this pawn, although he doesn't really have any other attackers than just this, to my knight. developing a nice knight. Now all he really achieved from that was a single pawn. Now that is a decent idea to take it. He can't really do much else. By taking the rook, the queen can take. By taking the knight, the bishop can take. By taking the pawn, queen, pawn, you get the deal. Now he doesn't really have any other plans cooking from what I've seen, so I think the idea that I'm going to go for is just to get some nice pawn structure going. Threatening the bishop here. And by moving the queen up here, it is possible to protect both the bishop and the rook over here with this rook that's been revealed from moving the queen. Puts more pressure onto the bishop, forcing me to move it. Can't move here, can't move here, here. Could move into these two spots, which are my only spots, really. I'll try this way. Moving his pawn up one, he puts more pressure onto this pawn right here. Now, I've got a knight that would be able to recapture. His queen, though, does make it a problem with two attackers to my one. And so I'm thinking, moving this up here, he takes, I take, would be a pretty good bet. If I make the last attack, or last capture the rook, or the knight, I'd probably be able to threaten the queen and threaten the c7 fork with the king and the rook. I think that is exactly what I'm going to do. He opts not to attack it. I'll take the opportunity now to attack myself. If he take, I'd be able to take not with the knight, but with the bishop. Think I'm going to keep the pressure going. If he takes with the knight, I'll be able to recapture. Now I have an idea. Moving this bishop right here, he's put into check, and he's not able to take with the queen, or else I would be able to fork these two pieces. The only thing stopping me currently being the queen threatening this square right here. And just like that, he's forced to move. I'd like to get my queen involved. Thinking somewhere like this spot right here. Seems like a good bet. Now let's see, because if I'm thinking of this correctly, if I move this queen on this diagonal, the bishop is following it, making everything that I do protected, being able to recapture, making it unable for the king to take. If the queen was right here, the knight is protecting this, the pawn is protecting this, as well as the queen itself. And I don't exactly see any way that a piece could recapture. I believe that is checkmate. And it is. Definitely went a lot better than the first game, and as you can see, they are rematching me. I guess they didn't like that. Always fun whenever you get those unexpected mates.